Hey, my name is Jen, and I am on a journey of transformation, self-discovery, and self-love, and I would love for you to join me on that journey. So come on. Hi guys, welcome back. I am here. Welcome back to my channel, Perfectly Imperfect with Jen Hills, where I share all the ways that I'm transforming my life, one day, one meal, one step at a time. I've been on this journey now for 35 weeks, and I've had a little break, a little hiatus from YouTube, but I am back, guys, sort of. We'll talk about that in a minute. But I am back, and about 35 weeks ago, I began to transform my life one day, one step, one meal at a time. And this is where I share all of the ways that I'm changing my life, all the things that I'm doing to transform my life from the inside out. If you are new, welcome to my channel. I'm so glad you stopped by to check on me and to see how I'm doing in my journey. If you're a returning guest or friend, thank you so much for sticking with me. I have been MIA for a couple weeks, but I'm back here to update you and let you fill you in on where I've been, some things that I've been doing, what's been going on in my life, and to give you the weigh-in, the big weigh-in. You know, a lot of times when people leave YouTube or are MIA, it's because they got bad news. Not the case here. We're doing good. We're doing great. Life was just so good, I didn't have time to film. So let's check in and see how we're doing. If you would like to follow me along on this weight loss journey, please make sure to ring the bell, subscribe. First, you got to subscribe, then you ring the bell so you get notifications every time I post. And give me a big thumbs up on this comment. That really helps to get this video in searches so other people can find me and join me on my journey. And really the first reason I'm doing this channel is for my own benefit, so I can go back and watch these videos to see my progress. And secondly, because I hope that I can inspire and encourage somebody else who is struggling with obesity as I have my whole life. Some of my earliest memories are about obesity, about being overweight and food and struggles and stuff. So it is a long journey, ladies and gentlemen, and I am so glad that I'm finding peace on this journey and I'm making a way forward. It's kind of freaky, actually, to think of myself in recovery like this, but I'm getting there. Yeah, so I just use the term in recovery. So a couple of my videos at the very beginning, I talked about addiction, and I talked about how I learned this term when it talked about alcoholics, or a drug addict. So an alcoholic and a drug addict are either in recovery or relapse. You're in one of those conditions at all times. And that really learning that really kind of exploded my mind and blew my mind a little bit, because I began to think about that in my situation and how I feel about food and how I feel about about my relationship with food. And so that really kind of struck with me, and it kind of really emphasized to me, or I realized that I'm either in recovery or relapse. So I began to think about my journey. You know, I realized that in my life, there have been times where I've either been actively seeking to find a way forward that is healthy and recovery, or I have been in relapse where I just don't care about anything. For me, there's no middle ground. I'm either working towards something, toward a healthy future, or I am in relapse and I'm just eating, my nose itches, I'm just eating junk. I'm eating things my body doesn't need. I'm eating in excess. That was one of my big things, binge eating. And yeah, so anyway, here we are, and I've been in recovery mostly for 35 weeks. I would say I haven't really fallen off the wagon at all, been in any kind of relapse at all in the last 35 weeks. So let's talk about where the last time you met your heroine, where I was. So last time we met, I had just gotten back from vacation. It was right after Easter. And while I was on vacation, I did something called a diet break. You can click down below and you can see the video from my vacation and what I did on my diet break. And it was such a good break. So I didn't go into relapse. I didn't binge, and I didn't eat excessive carbohydrates and excessive sugars, right? I just took a little break. I stopped counting calories, stopped counting carbs. I ate ketogenically approved food, stuff that I would normally eat on my ketogenic journey. I just didn't track it, didn't weigh it, didn't measure it, and that was really nice. So did that, came back. But before that, let's back it up even further. Sometime in February, I hit my 6-month milestone. And I had lost 50 pounds in 6 months, which averages 2 pounds a week. I was doing great. 2 pounds a week weight loss is phenomenal, guys. I was a rock star. I don't know what happened to me. I decided, one of the things I've also talked about, because this is something that I struggle with, is comparison. I always compare myself to other people. And when I compare myself to other people, I always feel less. I always feel like I'm doing something not as good, or I could be doing something better, or I'm not as good as other YouTubers, other people on a weight loss journey that are broadcasting their information. So I have a real big problem with comparison. So what I did was I thought, I want to lose weight faster. How can I do that? And so I watched a couple different YouTubers and thought, I'm going to change everything. I started calorie counting, weighing foods, limiting macros, raise my protein. And I did, the first week I did okay, I had a loss. But then after that, everything just shut down. I could feel it in my body. I felt bloated. I felt all sorts of stuff in my body, and I didn't lose weight. For 5 weeks, I lost 5 pounds, which is still a pound a week. So I really should have complained, but it was up and down. There was nothing, I didn't even lose 5 pounds. I was up and down with the same 5 pounds. So I was like at 52 pounds. It was really like 2 pounds in 5 weeks. So, I could feel it in my body. I could feel that something had changed in my body. I felt my body didn't feel energized. It didn't feel free. It didn't feel that I was running on all cylinders. Something had changed in my body. And I also began to feel, if you look at right before my diet break, the week before I took the diet break, I felt like I had fallen back in the diet trap, the diet culture trap. Now, I didn't know it at that time, but I was saying some things that kind of gave that impression. Now looking back, I know that's what I was feeling. I was feeling trapped, I was feeling limited, and I was feeling restricted. And because that scale would not move. And the reason the scale wasn't moving is because I had stopped trusting myself. I have lost 50 pounds in 6 months. I obviously know what I'm doing. My body knows what it's doing on my ketogenic journey. And for some reason, I got brain warped or something, or I don't know what happened. I just lost confidence in myself. I just had my confidence stolen and thought I needed to change something when everything obviously was working. So anyway, I took my diet break. When I came back from my diet break that first week, I was like, okay, I'm back to tracking, back to macros, back to everything. And then I was like, I don't like this. What's wrong with me? I don't like doing all of these things that I'm not seeing results for, and I don't feel good in this. So I decided that I was going back to doing things the way I have done it for 6 months previously. And so the way that I've done keto, and the reason I love keto so much than any other diet or way of eating that I have tried in my life, is because keto feels right. Because I use intuitive eating. I do really good at fasting. And I feel that is something that really helps my body. And I have other videos on fasting. You can Google the benefits of fasting. It is not starvation, but it has some amazing benefits that I really enjoy and that really help me. And so when I fast at least 1 or 2 days a week, and by fasting, I mean I do a 1 meal a day. I don't go 24 hours without eating, but I at least do one meal a day. When I use that ketogenic principle, I lose weight every time. Every time I lose weight. So I went back to that. I went back to what I had done, which what I do daily is I intermittent fast. It's not technically fasting because I do have calories. So my coffee is about 300 calories because it has to have a whipping cream in it. But I wake up every morning. I have my coffee until noon, and then from noon till about 6, or 7, I eat. And then one day a week, I fast until 4. And then from 4 until 7, I eat. And 1 or 2 days a week. I usually do that Friday and Sunday. I try to have those days as my fasting days. Sometimes Saturdays, sometimes Fridays and Saturdays. It just works for me that way in my schedule. Guess what, guys? The scale is moving. The scale is moving. We're back. I broke the plateau. I just did it for 1 week. So let's talk about the numbers. And I feel good. I don't have that feeling. In the meantime, I did up some magnesium supplements. I got back on magnesium. Oh, yeah, more importantly than the scale moving is I feel good. And, we've talked about my relationship with the scale and how I let it influence so much of this journey. But more than that, I can honestly tell you, I feel good. I really do feel good. I feel like this is sustainable, that this is something I can continue to do in the long term. So let's look at the numbers. So the last time I weighed in, right after Easter, I was 281. And I had gone up and down between 278, 277, 276. I think 276 was my lowest. And that was like around February 17th when I hit my 50 pounds weight loss. And then from my 6 months, up and down for the last 10 weeks, basically, right? 26 weeks was 6 months. So for the last 10 weeks, or I wouldn't say 10, 8 weeks, because this is week 35. So about the last 7 to 8 weeks, I was up and down, between 276, 4 pounds, between 276, 280, whatever. So on Easter, the Monday after Easter, April 5th, I weighed 281 pounds. Some of that could have been salt. I had a lot of ham. That was week 33. I weighed in, that was my last video too, was that week, was on that Wednesday, the 7th. So I did weigh in. I've been tracking my weight. I just haven't been filming because I got back from vacation. And when anybody knows when you come back from vacation, everything's crazy. Trying to get my house back in order, trying to get my kids' lives together. Then we came back, had Easter, big deal for my family and my profession. Then I went camping with my Girl Scouts for 2 nights, which was a whole nother rigmarole. You gotta get all that stuff together, get all that stuff cleaned. And now we're replacing the floors in my house on the main level and renovating a bathroom. And I got certified as an archery instructor. So just a lot of stuff going on in my life. So anyway, the filming has kind of taken a hiatus, and I'm only doing this. I'm only going to do this as long as I want to do it, as long as it brings me joy. That's my thing. I do things that bring me joy. And for the most part, this does bring me joy. I love my comments from my friends and my followers. I love hearing how I'm inspiring you. I love getting the encouragement from you guys. So as long as this brings me joy, we're going to do it. We might just bump down to 1 video a week for the time being. We'll see how it goes. Anyway, I'm all over the place, people. I apologize. So back to the numbers. 281. So when I weighed in, on 4/12, on Monday the 12th, I was at 277.8. That is week 34. I didn't do the math. Good job, Jennifer. 277.8. So that was about 3 pounds. We'll say 278. Yeah, that's about 3 pounds. I lost 3 pounds that first week. Eating intuitively, back to keto principles, fasting, and eating intuitively. And by no means am I depriving myself this way. I eat what I want, when I want. That's what I meant. I eat when I want. So if I'm hungry, I'm going to go grab a cheese stick. So I'm not really eating like meals. I am eating meals. I'm eating lunch and dinner, but my meals are smaller. So for lunch, I'm not having such a big meal. I might have like half of what I eat for lunch and eat it later. I'm just eating intuitively. If I'm hungry, I'm going to eat something that I know is keto and that I know will satiate me. That's simple. And then I'm fasting at least 2 days a week. All right, so 4/12, 277.8. That was week 34. Week 35, which is today, the 19th of April, although you're watching this on the 21st. On the 19th of April, I weighed in at 275.2. I broke 276. Here we are, 275.2 at week 35. So if you're doing the math, that is 5.8 pounds since Easter. That's more than I lost from February 7th to the beginning of April. More than I lost. I am back on track. My body has left the plateau. And here I am, feeling so good about that. So in 1 week, just from the 12th to the 19th, in 1 week, I lost 2.6 pounds. Very happy with that. And like I said, I'm most happy because I feel good. I'm feeling good in my body. I did do some measurements today, and my clothes are falling off me. I can't find anything to wear, and it's really hard. But I'm holding out, I'm gonna piece together some wardrobe, see what I can find. Wear clothes that are baggy just for a little bit, maybe 1 or 2 pieces that fit. But I'm doing okay. Don't feel bad for me. I'm gonna be okay. But my inches aren't the same. I've lost maybe 1/2 inch in my waist, 1/2 inch on my hips since the end of February. Haven't lost that many inches. So I think that's gonna come as I keep moving. So there we are. Back to intuitive eating, what I like to call intuitive keto, which is intuitive eating, fasting, at least when I feel like. Sometimes I don't feel like fasting too. And sometimes I'm like, I ain't gonna make it to 4 o'clock on this fast, and I'll eat it too. You know, I don't give myself that many restrictions, and I really just try to trust my body, but always making sure that I'm choosing ketogenic foods, right? Low carb, high fat, moderate protein, trying to make sure I'm giving my body that. And I'm feeling so good, feeling great. The scale's moving, feeling like we're back on track. We're back in the journey, back on that horse. Here we go. Thank you for joining me for week 35. I'm so glad you stopped by to check out my progress. I've missed you all. I hope you're doing well in your journey, whatever that is. And if there's one lesson to learn from this video, is everybody's on their own journey. What works for me might not work for you, and what works for you might not work for me. And it's up to each of us to do the work to find out how are we gonna have our best success. And if something doesn't work, try something different. Don't give up. Everything might not work for you that works for me, and vice versa. But the key is don't give up. Keep on trying. You will find something that will work for you. I promise you. It just might take some creativity and switching things up a little bit, but you can make it. All right, everybody, have a wonderful week. I hope to join you again next week for my next weigh-in for 36 weeks. So check back. If you ring the bell, you'll get notifications every time I post, and you'll know when I have posted a video. Until then, I want you to love one another, but most importantly, you need to love yourself because you are amazing. All right, bye-bye.